Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Badass Genius. Stay in tune because after this I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Sent to the Marvel World. So stay in tune for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And over on Anime King 2, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Banished and gathered all the Jinchuriki. And I'm also going to be posting a new episode of What If Izuna Uchiha Was Naruto's Ancestor. So stay in tune for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, guys. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
So to do a bit of recap from the last part we left off, the village people hated Naruto and Kushina after finding out that the demon resided in the boy and Kushina's previous Jinchuriki status was leaked. So people hated them, as Mikoto, her best friend, told her that she could stay at the compound for a while, as she and Naruto stayed there when their house got broken into and their windows smashed, as Naruto was very overprotective of his mother, as he knows she's going through a lot and suffering a lot, as he was angry at Minato for doing this and leaving them, as he left them to the wrath of these people, these irrational, stubborn monkeys, as Itachi told Naruto to join Root, well, not to basically join it, but to come under his wing. He will teach him, as Naruto told his mother about that, as she was upset at first to hear that he wanted to join Root, as she told him that he must go to the academy, as Sasuke was going and Naruto was still not going to the academy, as Sasuke was really overprotective of his brother. Ever since Naruto came in his life, his brother has been spending so much time with Naruto and training with him. We then skip to Sarutobi and Naruto training, as Naruto told Sarutobi that he wants to become stronger, no matter what it costs, as he needs to become stronger, he needs to be able to protect his mother, as Sarutobi told him that he should go to the academy. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can choose your custom place and check it out for yourself, so let's start this new episode. Naruto and Sarutobi were still in the training field, as he just talked to Naruto about the academy, as Naruto said that he would think about it. As Sarutobi turned and looked at Naruto, Naruto will have to go to the sand in 2 days. No, Naruto said. It wasn't anything the third wasn't expecting from the blonde. Come on boy, don't you want to see Temari again? He asked. Once more Naruto just frowned. It had been a year ago when his mother told him there was some kind of treaty between Konoha and the sand. His mother has participated in it as well. The agreement was that he was to marry the 4th Kazekage daughter when he turned 18. The agreement was struck when the Sarutobi was complying to allow them, both him and his mother, to take refuge in the sand village till things cooled down in the village, as Sarutobi's reason was to strengthen the alliance with the sand, as Konoha don't really have a lot of allies despite it was the strongest village in the elemental nations. His mother also feared that just because he was hated, he was likely to grow without a girlfriend, so she found him the perfect girlfriend. A girl who has a Jinchuriki for a brother, a potential friend possibly. Last time you went without complaint, Sarutobi said. Mother was going, that's because, Naruto said. Well, I didn't say that she wasn't going this time, now did I, said Sarutobi. Oh, said Naruto, as Sarutobi chuckled. Come on, let's go and get some ramen. As Sarutobi walked through the streets with Naruto, Minato would be disgusted if he saw all these people just look at his son, as he wondered if Minato was given a second chance, would he still follow the path, giving his son this burden, even if he knew what the future lay. There was so many times that he wished that Minato allowed him to sacrifice his own soul for the sealing of the Kyuubi. He had lost his wife that night and his sons as all grown. Nobody needed him anymore. But the kid needed his father, and Minato left him. He had wished that he was there to stop the process and take it on himself. But he wasn't the one. This is rather unpleasant, isn't it? Asked Sarutobi. Unpleasant? Naruto said. Well, unpleasant, for a lack of better word. But I've become used to it. Just like the heat in the sand village. It's natural. Once that you live there long enough, the heat won't bother you anymore. Not to say that this is natural by any means. I get what you're saying, Sarutobi said. Do you think they will ever change? I stopped asking myself that question when I was 5, Naruto said. As Sarutobi let out a bitter chuckle, those years were truly bad. At least things is not as bitter as those recent years. Do you think it would have been much easier if you and your mother had lived in the sand village? Keep in mind it would only be temporary. Maybe or maybe not, logic dictate that it would have been pleasant, seeing that those people didn't know my Jinchuriki status. But that is false, and this is the reality. This is what we have to look at now. Dwelling on that cannot help with anything. So, Naruto said, changing the conversation, when are you going to retire anyway? You're going to become a real grandfather soon enough. As Sarutobi ruffled Naruto's hair, I will retire when you say that you're strong enough. As Naruto let out a tiny smile, I wouldn't have it any other way, Gigi, he said. Time skip. Sarutobi was in his office. As what people don't know was that he's a secret pervert. He wouldn't go around flaunting it like Jiraiya, but he had his crystal ball. And what they didn't know was that the professor, the god of shinobi, the third Hokage, liked to watch the ladies splash water on each other in the hot spring. As this woman just walked in the office, a warm smile on her face, her lips colored in blue, and a long red hair that reached down to her curvy waist. Sarutobi couldn't help but stare. Jiraiya said, clearing his throat. Before Sensei started drooling. What was wrong with these men? Mei Tarumi thought, as she looked at the third Hokage and his former student. Jiraiya was already infamous with some women with his book, but she didn't have a problem with them. But the third Hokage was supposed to be a dignified old man, with an image of peace to uphold. But upon entering his office, let it all crumble away. Please take a seat, said Sarutobi. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Mei said. And thanks for taking your time to see me. I wasn't sure that you would be willing to talk to me. Don't worry about it, the third said, smiling. Tarumi Mei, the leader of the rebellion in Kiri Civil War. That is about right, Jiraiya. Jiraiya intel was always reliable. He was just asking for the sake of it. Yes, Jiraiya said. As Mei wasn't surprised. Kiri may be in lockdown because of the war, but some shinobis are truly able to make the impossible possible. Forgive me, but I'm going to be blunt. Granted that you know who I am, I can safely say you know what I came here for. Sarutobi nodded. You don't mind if I smoke, do you? As he was already lighting up his pipe when he asked. Mei was tempted to say that she does mind, but she held it back. You require Konoha assistance in the civil war that has crippled Kiri resources. Mei nodded. Why Konoha exactly? Jiraiya asked. The Raikage wouldn't agree to it without making some outrageous demands. The Sand isn't in a position to help, and the Stone Village would rather colonize Kiri than help us. Konoha boasts the finest shinobi and is the strongest of all the nation. Aside from that, the third Hokage has been a great preacher of peace. So because I preach peace, you believe I would be the easiest to recruit and assist you and wouldn't make an outrageous demand? Like other nations, huh? Sarutobi asked, as he took a puff from his pipe. I don't mean it like that exactly, Mei said, trying to explain herself, as Sarutobi merely chuckled as he waved it off. I understand what you meant, he said, as he took another puff from his pipe, as his expression turned serious as he leaned against his chair. Speak, he said. Mei knew what the old man was saying, and this was the hardest part. Honestly, I have nothing to offer as it stands. We have been making progress against Yagura forces, but our enemy remains the Mizukage. meaning that he controls most things. However, I do believe that we will win the war. We just need some reinforcements for the final battle. When we win, we will take over Kiri and start to rebuild it. Then we can compensate you. You also gain an ally who will never betray you, she said. So basically all you have is promises, without any evidence of it ever being fulfilled. This is a shinobi world. Signed treaties are nothing more than a piece of paper. What value do mere words even hold if one can just deny ever saying them? May frowned as she hadn't expected the old man to jump into the opportunity to assist her, but she'd thought he would be a bit easy given his reputation. I know, she said, but I'm willing to go through a blood oath to show my promise. As Sarutobi just stared at her for a moment, as she couldn't even guess what was going on inside his head. He then spoke. How desperate are you? Excuse me, she said. You came here with nothing but words, yet you still expect me to risk the life of my shinobis to help you. I just believe there's still some good people in this world. It may be corrupted to the core, but I believe that not everyone is bad. Do you think I'm wrong for having such hope, Hokage-sama, she asked. As Sarutobi smiled, not at all, he said, as he then turned back serious. Tell me about the current Mizukage, what is wrong with him? I know this may sound as an accusation to the Uchiha clan, but we believe without a doubt that Yagura is being manipulated by a powerful genjutsu that only Sharingan can cast, Mei said. I see, said the third. How did you come up with that conclusion, Mei-san? He asked. I am afraid I cannot tell you that, as she couldn't tell them that one of her man Ayo had one of Konoha Dojutsu. Can't or don't want to, he asked. It's a secret that we hold in our ranks. I am sure you have things in your own ranks that you would like to keep secret as well. Well, when I'm trying to get someone to help me without anything to offer, I divulge anything I can, Sarutobi said. As Jiraiya just watched the professor work, he was good with these things. It appeared I was wrong coming here. With how this is going, it doesn't seem like I would get any help. To how? I have nothing to offer. Who had she been kidding? No one gave anything for free, not in this cruel world of shinobi. That is how it seems, said Sarutobi. As Mei nodded. Thank you for your time, she said, as she got ready to leave. But that is not how it is, Sarutobi said. I never said that I wouldn't offer you my assistance. So, settle down. Now tell me, what do you think Oniki would do if he hears that I'm helping you against Yagura, and he sent his own soldiers to help Yagura? Mei frowned. The Stone and Konoha would probably end up fighting, possibly opening old war wounds. I don't need to tell you how bad that would affect us if we were dragged into war, having recently recovered from the Kyuubi rampage 7 years ago. Mei frowned deepened. If that happened, she won't be able to help out in the war. I understand, she said, as he was saying that he wanted the help, but the risks were too great. Every leader has to look out for their own people. I'm glad you understand, he said, smiling. So how long do you think this final battle would last? A week or two, Mei said. You think you're up to the challenge, Jiraiya? Asked Sarutobi. Jiraiya chuckled. I have no complaints as long as I get to stare at her magnificent beauty. As Sarutobi chuckled. Good. Well then, you have my assistance, Mei-san, he said, as Mei was stunned. He was not only going to offer his help, but he was going to send his strongest shinobi. She would have been grateful if he just sent some lesser shinobi, but a Sanin? This was just a miracle, as she couldn't help but smile. Thank you, Hokage-sama, she said. I didn't expect this. Don't thank me yet, Sarutobi said. Return to Konoha when you have ended Yagura's blood reign. That will be the first thing I do, she said. I hope so, Sarutobi said. Now, would you rather rest or would you rather stay here? My man can fetch a tool that you left outside of the village. Mei showed no physical reaction to this revolution. The two that she left outside were supposed to be hidden, but it seemed like Sarutobi have great eyes. I have to return to camp right away. It will be dangerous if Yagura becomes aware of my absence. Understandable, he said. Jiraiya will catch up to you and the others before you reach sea. Mei nodded as she gave her thanks as she then leave, as he didn't escort her out because this would raise too much noise, and he wanted to keep this low-key as possible. Jiraiya then turned towards Sarutobi. What are you thinking, he asked. Do you think this Uchiha could be the same one responsible for the Kyuubi's attack We still don't know if it's a Sharingan that is really manipulating Yagura, said Jiraiya. Yes, it would be best if Itachi tags along. His Mangita Sharingan will be enough to discern that. If he gets another step in, then we might get closer to unmasking this Uchiha. As Jiraiya nodded, as there was a few seconds of silence. Sensei, you get along with the kid. Does he hate me? He asks. You're going to have to speak to him eventually. If you're not going to break the ice, Naruto will not bother. Now, I raised you when you were just a brat, Jiraiya, but you have grown up now. You have raised me not well. This is something I cannot help you with. However, I can tell you this, on this secret mission, speak to Itachi, he understands Naruto. 2 hours later, Danzo walked into the office, as he had a skull on his face, as he hated to be ordered around by Hiruzen. Why did you call me, Hiruzen? Now, Danzo, there is no need for such anger. I did allow you to live after you tried to get me killed. Now, I have a mission for your route. What? Danzo said, as he narrowed his eye. Kiri, Civil War, you're to send your route to fight with the rebels against Yagura's forces tomorrow, said Sarutobi. The following day, Naruto was going to the park as he saw Ino under the tree. He didn't want to be here in the first place, as her mother had asked him to fetch her since it was getting late and she wanted to close up the flower shop. He would have said no, but his mother was there, telling him to do it. As Ino looked sad, and that was something he didn't want to deal with. He had his own problems. Sighing, he sat down beside her, as Ino turned and looked at him. Just so you know, I don't care, he said. I am just going to ask because if I ignore you, my mother is going to find out and she won't be happy. Or you may just use it against me, Naruto said. You're so cold, Ino said. But then again, she did appreciate his honesty. He never lied to her, he was always truthful. Naruto merely shrugged. What's wrong, he said. It's Sakura, she said. What about her? Well, her father got her into the academy, and we're in the same class, but she also liked Sasuke. So the both of us decided to terminate our friendship so we can pursue him. As Naruto narrowed his eyes at her. And this makes you sad? As Ino nodded, yes. I like our friendship, but now we have become rivals, always throwing insults at each other. Sakura has also made new friends. As Naruto sighed, his mother must truly hate him to make him go through such things. What are 7-year-olds doing chasing after Sasuke? What do you even mean you like him? You know, how a boy like a girl, Ino said. No, I don't, Naruto said. As Ino sighed, yeah, you wouldn't, she said. The only person you really care about is your mother, no one else. So you really like this Sasuke, and this Sakura does as well. Both of you are fighting for his affection. This is love. But you're just 7, you shouldn't be too worried about such things. Say the guy who already has a fiancé, Ino said. You're not supposed to talk about such things, Naruto said. How she even knew about it was beyond him. He would never tell her something like that, and his mother wouldn't tell her either. She probably walked in on his mother and her mother talking. Sorry, Ino said. Does Sasuke like you as well, Naruto asked. As Ino frowned, as it was all the answer that Naruto needed. My thoughts is, get over your stupid crush, or destroy your friendship with that girl completely. What if by some great miracle, Itachi compels Sasuke to tell Sakura that he likes her better? Ino frowned deepened. No. Sasuke liked me, she said. Wasting my goddamn time, Naruto thought. As he got up, come on, let's go, he said. Time skip, the hidden sand village. Sarutobi, Kushina and Naruto were going towards the Kazekage's tower as they were being led by envoys. As Kushina had a smile on her face, her baby boy will be going to the academy and make new friends. And he will get stronger to be able to protect himself from bullies. As she remembered him talking to her last night about it, as she had a big smile on her face. As it really meant a lot to her, and Naruto was happy that she was happy. Looks like we finally reached the tower, Sarutobi said, as the walk has been pleasant and a good way to kill some time. The envoy leader turned. Is he going to sit in as well? He said, looking at Naruto. No, said Sarutobi, not this time. I will take him to the Kazekage's home then, one of the envoys said as Hiruzen nodded. Kushina looked at her son. Do you still remember what I told you? Naruto nodded. Well, tell me, she said. Smile, Naruto said, as he gave his mother a warm smile. Good, now go be a good boy, and don't do anything that will give your mother a heart attack. Mother, what would I do that will give you a heart attack? Naruto asked. Kushina shrugged. Well, you spend some time with him, she said, as she pointed to Sarutobi with her left shoulder. He's like Jiraiya, but he just does it in a closet. Who knows if he really do that smut, she said, as she glared at Sarutobi, giving him a warning. Now, Kushina, I am a responsible adult, and I would never affect young Naruto in that way. Keep it that way, she said, as Naruto was taken away with one of the envoys, as they went towards the tower. At the Kazekage residence, as Naruto raised the eyebrow and he saw Temari, as she wore a black kimono that fitted her perfectly, no lipsticks, just her pure face. The last time he come here, she looked normal. Now she looked like she was preparing for a festival or something. As Naruto smiled, Naruto, Temari greeted with a somewhat forced smile. Temari, you look nice, he said, as the girl walked in towards the living room. As his mother has always told him, always compliment a girl if you want to get into her good books. Thank you, Temari said, as she wanted to be polite and return the favor, but the blonde didn't bother to dress formal. He just looked normal, but yet again even his mother wore casual clothes the last time she was here. Like a mother like son, she thought. A thought clicked in her mind. You must be hungry from your journey. Food is prepared. How could she have forgotten that? Sure, Naruto said, as they went to a spacious dining room with the big table and a lot of chairs around it. As the food was prepared, as they settled down, did they make you wear that kimono? Naruto asked. As Temari said yes. Her father had been insisting that she look good for Naruto. Obviously, her father was more concerned about the relationship this will do for the village. Her father always talked about the village and the future. With this contract, he would secure the Sand future, and he was not going to do anything that jeopardized it. That is unless something more valuable comes up. As Temari knew that Naruto was the only child of Konoha Yellow Flash, she, her father, and their trusted advisor, Baki, knew the secret. The council didn't even know about the contract. How are you calm about this whole thing? Temari asked. Even last time, he looked so calm, despite their first meeting. My mother was thinking about my well-being when she agreed to it, Naruto said. I can't say the same about my father, said Temari. We are both in this situation. Either we learn to live with it or remain bitter about it. I would rather choose the former though. I am still 7 years old. There's a lot more time to grow around the issue, don't you think? He asked. As Temari nodded. Still, Naruto knew that there was a high chance this might not even happen, as the agreement was with the two current Kages. If another Kage should take over, they could stop this. And since it wasn't public, it was good for either nation to pull out without any backlash. Besides, the only reason they want them to know each other was because they want them to develop some kind of a bond and don't be strangers. Time skip. 2 days later, Sarutobi was in his office as he was sitting right in front of Fukaku Uchiha, the leader of the Uchiha clan and the police military force of Konoha. I hope you kept things tidy in the village while I was away, said Sarutobi. Naturally, said Fukaku. My son has been out of the village for a number of days. I usually don't question envoy missions, but I feel that he has been taken away hostily, and he told me that he had no upcoming missions and his squad members are still in the village, said Fukaku. Itachi has gone on a secret mission with Jiraiya, the third said. You know that I don't believe for a second that your clan had nothing to do with the Kyuubi attack, right? As he already told the man what he thought, but he always said whenever he got the chance. Fukaku gave a sudden nod. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the villagers and the clan heads. That is unfortunate, Sarutobi said. Despite many talks telling that your clan had nothing to do with it, they still believe otherwise. They're hell-bent on blaming someone as they refuse to accept Naruto. Where is this going, Hokage-sama? Asked Fukaku. Your son has gone on a mission in Kiri. We were told that the 4th Mizukage was being controlled by a powerful genjutsu. Fukaku took a minute to digest those words. So you believe if this is true, it may be the same Uchiha that manipulated the Kyuubi. Yes, Sarutobi said, if this happened to be true, Itachi might figure out the identity of this person. With that, we can hunt him down and bring him to justice. Perhaps then we can be able to stop the madness that is going around the village. As the Uchihas has been pushed out of the village, and they no longer had any political power, despite them operating the police force. Fukaku doubt that anything would be done unless they took action though. Things with the villagers has already been pushed past the line of no return. Is that all? Fukaku asks. As Sarutobi nodded, can you organize a meeting between your clan elders so we can all sit and talk and find a way to deal with this issue? I will see if they are willing. No guarantees. And with that, he left the office. This doesn't look good at all, the third said to himself. He just hoped that Itachi can bring home some good news. Later that day, Naruto was sitting with Kakashi as Kakashi threw a scroll towards Naruto. As Naruto caught it, Sarutobi told me that you were doing chakra control exercises. He given me that scroll on methods that I should teach you, but I have a mission. So read through it and when I return, we will pick up from there. Thanks, Naruto said. Don't worry about it, said Kakashi with an eye smile. The next day, notebook, check. Lunch, check. As Kushina was listing off the things in Naruto's backpack. As Naruto sighed, his mother was acting like she was the one who was going to the academy, not him. Everything is there, Mom. Everything is gonna be alright. I don't want you to miss anything on your first day. You have to impress the other kids today, Kushina said. Did you ask Ino if there was homework? Mom, it's my first day. I don't have to write homework. And Ino doesn't even know that I will be in your class today. Kushina, said a voice. From outside the house, it belongs to Mikoto. Oh, Sasuke's mother is here. Come on, son, said Kushina as she dragged Naruto out. Hello, Mikoto. Hello, Sasuke. Kushina greeted the two Uchihas. You look bright as always, Sasuke, said Kushina, pinching him on the cheek. Sasuke got red a bit while smiling at Kushina. You look full of life like always, Sasuke said. Mikoto looked at Naruto as she offered him a smile. Well, this is my surprise, she said. I don't consider it as such, Naruto said. When the surprise comes, you will be shocked. I can't wait. As she looked at Kushina, let's go. We don't want to be late. Sasuke, Naruto grunted as he took the front with Sasuke, while the two mothers were behind talking. Naruto, Sasuke said, a grunt of his own. What changed? As Sasuke was rather happy on the inside, with Naruto going to the academy, he won't be spending time with Itachi. Nothing much, Naruto said with a shrug. You look excited. I can finally get one over you. We are currently tied 1-1. You beat me with the shuriken throwing, while I beat you with a fireball. As Sasuke smirked as he knew that he was the best in the academy. You were keeping score? Naruto asked. As it seemed like Sasuke was suffering from memory loss, as he doesn't seem to remember the last time they sparred in taijutsu and Naruto completely humiliated him. As Sasuke said nothing further as they silently made their way towards the academy. When they finally reached the academy gates, Kushina kneeled down as she placed her hands on Naruto's shoulders. Now go on and make your mother proud. I want you to get good grades and don't sleep in class, okay? If anyone's try anything, either student or teacher, call me and I'll be there to straighten things out. Yes, Mom, Naruto said. Good, as she kissed him on the forehead. She then looked at Sasuke. Show him around, will you? As Sasuke nodded, let's go, he said to Naruto. As they left, as Kushina spoke, I say my son is the best and he will graduate top of his class. As Mikoto shook her head, I do agree Naruto is smart, but my Sasuke is a genius. He takes it after his older brother. Wanna bet? Asked Kushina. At the academy. Oh no, said Ino, as she stared at the entrance of the class, as Naruto just walked in with Sasuke. This was not happening, not to her. How was she supposed to handle this mess? She definitely have to choose between the two of them. Naruto wouldn't be liked by the fangirls if he stayed too close to Sasuke, and she wouldn't be able to do anything to stop them from insulting him. But she couldn't allow that. He was her friend. He was always there protecting her. As Sasuke sat at the front row, as Naruto was going to sit there. As he looked at Ino, surprised, he said, Are you lost? Ino added, as Aruka didn't tell them that they would have a new student today. She knew that she would had to split her time up, as she had to spend time with him. He was like her black shining knight, and she couldn't leave him alone. Is this Aruka class? Naruto asked. Yes, said Ino. Then no, I am not lost, said Naruto. Why? Why are you trying to ruin my perfect academy life? As Naruto blinked a few times. You're not obligated to spend time with me, you know, Ino. Of course I am, she said. As Naruto shook his head and went up to the back of the class, as he took a seat on the top left corner. As everyone was looking at him, the looks weren't from hatred, just curiosity. Understandable, since he was just joining a class that has already covered more ground. As Aruka walked in the class, as a boy quickly asked, Iruka-sensei, who's the blonde? Iruka looked at Naruto as he looked at him for a few moments before responding. That is Uzumaki Naruto. He will be attending with us from today on. Isn't that unfair? Another kid asked. He was recommended by the Hokage himself, Iruka said, not bothering to go into detail. Today, we will focus on, Iruka started. After 3 hours of wasting his time, Naruto was right, the academy was totally useless. Mother must truly hate me for forcing me to go through this, Naruto said to himself. As a boy in front of him heard him, I hear you, he said. If I ditch, my mother would drag me here by force. I can see that happening, Naruto said, as he could also see his mother forcing him to come here. The way for you to skip out most of this troublesome talking is to just sleep, the boy said, as he turned back around and lie down. Time skip. Iruka clenched his fist as he looked up at the menace in his class. Even though the boy never really paid any attention to him, he thought he liked it at first, but it was just annoying, as he wished sometimes that he could just grab him by the hair and pull him out of his class. But the thought was crushed instantly when you remember who was the boy's mother. She would probably kill him instantly. Iruka was also surprised when he did a surprise test to fail the blonde, but even though he didn't pay attention, he passed. Even though half of the class failed that has been here since day 1, he still passed. As much as he hated to admit, Naruto wasn't stupid, he was smart. As it pissed him off to no end when Naruto made a comment saying that he could set the test so it could be more difficult. Not only that, he caught Naruto staring through the window as he told him to repeat what he just said, but with a calm face Naruto told him, I cannot repeat what you just said because I was not listening, as Iruka was just stunned by that response. Normally a student would try to fumble up something or try to make an excuse, but this boy, he was truly something different, as Naruto had made it clear to him that he was only here because his mother had forced him and Saratobi was blackmailing him. To show how useless the academy was, he had gone and said that he could do the graduating exam, despite that he has been here for only 2 weeks. If Iruka had his way, he would have just given him the test and made him get the hell out of here. But there was something he couldn't do. The other teachers also tried to trick the blonde to hold him back in the academics, but he knew all of them. When it came to knowledge, Naruto was on point. One of the teachers came back to the staff room grumbling as he got in an argument with Naruto about the history of Konoha, which Naruto knew more about. Iruka sighed as he sat at the edge of his desk. No one was absent today, which was good. He didn't feel like teaching anything. They hadn't been in the training ground for some time now. Well, a taijutsu demonstration should be good. Okay class, settle down, Iruka said, but no one heard him, as his head got really large. Shut up, he shouted, as all of them went quiet instantly. We will be going to the training ground today for an exhibition on the academy taijutsu that Mizuki had taught you, he said, as Iruka and Naruto's eyes met, as Naruto gave him that same blank look. You're in trouble, Shikamaru muttered to Naruto, seeing the look the sensei was giving the blonde. Shikamaru could tell that Iruka had something. He was holding something against Naruto, but Naruto really didn't give a damn, as he would brush off Iruka like it was nothing. It appears so, said Naruto. I wonder what sort of trick does he have for me today? Probably gonna get you matched with the best taijutsu, said Shikamaru. If Naruto could get beat, it would embarrass him and force him to pay attention in class. As Naruto thought about it, Sasuke claims to be the top dog here, while he is to the other students. But Sasuke couldn't beat him, never in taijutsu. He may be better than him in that fire jutsu, but not in taijutsu. As he always hold back and go easy on Sasuke, just not to wound his pride too much. I don't have an interest in participating in anything, but I guess I don't have a choice if I'm gonna be forced, Naruto said. He will force you, Shikamaru said. As Choji came into the conversation, you should try to get along with Iruka sensei. That will make your life much more easier. I doubt we are ever going to hug and kiss, Naruto said. If I survive this year without suffocation by the environment, I will consider it as an accomplishment. It's not so bad, Naruto, Choji said with a smile. You just have to loosen up a bit and you will enjoy it, trust me. Are you guys just going to sit there or are we going to follow the others, Kiba said, breaking them from their talk, as the group got up as they headed with the rest of the class. As they reached the training grounds, as Naruto and the others stood at the back. As Naruto didn't really care what Iruka had to say, Choji was eating chips as Shikamaru was just watching the clouds. Alright guys, Iruka said, today we're going to do some demonstration. I want to see if you have grasped the stances that you have been taught. You're going to be executing the stances in a fight, Iruka said. First up, I want 2 volunteers, 2 girls. As Ino was the first one to get up there, and then another girl, as the entire class circled around them. Remember, this is a friendly spar, no need for anything too harmful. As the both of them did the friendly sign. Begin, he said. Watching the fight, Naruto's eyes started to twitch, as they were really, in a word, pathetic. As this wasn't even a fight, 100-year-old grannies could fight better. Ino did win though. As Ino started to walk towards Naruto, as Iruka started to talk again, calling 2 more girls. That was pathetic. If I was one who teach you, I would call for execution, Naruto said. Ino huffed, as if you can do better, she said. Seeing the look that he gave her, she huffed once more. As Naruto was a better fighter and she knew that. Fine, she said, stop looking at me that way. I haven't been training that much. I would be shocked if you say you even train at all. I think even a child who just learned to walk can do better. As Ino glared at him, she was used to his response, but that didn't make her smile when she heard them. She was tempted to even curse him, but that wouldn't do good. He is still our friend after all. If you think I suck that much, why don't you help me then? Yeah, like you want to train instead of hanging out with your friends, Choji said, earning a glare from Ino. As Naruto then heard his name, as he didn't turn at first. Naruto, Iruka said. As Naruto didn't turn again, as he was still looking at Ino. Naruto? Don't you hear him? Ino said. As Naruto slowly turned around as he saw Sasuke in the ring. As Iruka had a tick mark on his forehead. Naruto, he said in a sweet tone. Why don't you come and spar with Sasuke? I rather not, Naruto said. I insist, Iruka said rather forcefully. Kiba took the chance to mock Naruto. What? Can't fight without your mother cheering for you? Mama's boy, he said. As Naruto didn't look at Kiba as he spoke. Kiba, regardless of what you eat or whatever possess you, don't you ever speak about my mother, Naruto said. As he then walked up to Sasuke. I thought that you were going to chicken out on me, Sasuke said with a big smirk. As Naruto didn't respond to Sasuke, he just looked over at Iruka. Can we get this over with already? As Iruka just hoped that Sasuke would beat Naruto with flying colors, as Naruto had stole the top dog ship from Sasuke in the test that he did a few days ago. Not even thinking about the traditions, Iruka said begin. Sasuke lost his smirk as he looked at Naruto. His brother told him to hide all of his emotions in a battle to make him very unpredictable. As Sasuke saw that Naruto wasn't coming, he dashed forward as he swung a fist towards Naruto's face. Naruto grabbed onto Sasuke's arm and held Sasuke. I've been training longer than you have, Naruto said. Do you really think that you can really defeat me? As Naruto stepped on Sasuke's foot and released him, as Sasuke was off balance. As Naruto then removed his foot. Shall we end this, he asked. We have dinner tonight at your house. As Sasuke winced at the thought, their mothers would certainly go at it if one of them won. As he knew they had made some kind of bet. And he knew which either of them won, their mother would have something to say. As he then looked at Iruka, I guess you can call it a draw. As Iruka frowned, as he said nothing for a few moments, allowing the words that Sasuke said to play over and over in his head. As he didn't get what he wanted. As Mizuki was going to have his way. As if he heard correctly, Mizuki did say he was going to get Naruto in the training grounds and accidentally hit him too hard while teaching him something. Iruka sighed. Take an hour break, he said, and be back, he said as he slowly walked away. Wow, I've never seen Iruka sensei so down before. You really did a number on him this time, said Choji to Naruto. As Shikamaru headed back to class to get some sleep as Choji followed because his backpack was there with his chips. As Naruto then went and sat down at a tree. He didn't get to take out his book as he was faced with a mob of girls. He looked up at them. What? Stay away from Sasuke and stop trying to compete with him. You can never beat him, and you're nobody. As Naruto wondered how could Ino lower herself, She was smart. How could she really call these people her friends? As Naruto understand why Shikamaru didn't eat with him at lunch, because he was fear of these fools. As the fangirls could do anything. He even witnessed them giving Iruka some death glares. But to Naruto they were nothing but pathetic girls. As he was in some bad blood with them, because he was too close to Sasuke, and the remark about dinner at his house must have pushed it over the edge. As Naruto looked behind the girls as Ino was standing there, as she was looking conflicted. As Naruto simply sighed, he has ignored the fangirls when they turned their attention to him. As he knew it bothered Ino that she couldn't do anything. Well, she could, but the consequences would be very bad for her. Naruto pulled out his book. "Would you be kind enough to get out of my way?" he said. "Are you dismissing us?" one of the girls asked. As Naruto looked up at them with a rather dangerous glare. As they took a gulp. As they held their heads high and walked away. Ino then crawled up beside Naruto. As she whispered, "I'm sorry." "I'm sorry," Ino said again. You have always been there for me. Whenever I call for your help, you always help me out. But when you need me, I can't do anything. I just watch," she said sadly. "You shouldn't bother with it," Naruto said. "I handle them." But guys, we'll be ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends on your social media platform. And stay in tune for the rest of the what is coming your way. And I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. And yeah guys, without further ado, I'm out for now guys. See you soon. Peace.